What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Truck Central. My name is Kyle, but a lot of you probably already know me as SobKyle04. For today's video, I'm going to be talking about the 10 most important things that you need to know about the all-new 2019 Ram 1500. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. For 2019, the Ram 1500 has been redesigned from the ground up. No stone was left unturned in creating what is now the benchmark of the segment. For starters, the new Ram takes advantage of more lightweight materials throughout its chassis and body structure. You'll find things like high-strength steel, aluminum, and composites dispersed throughout. Despite being longer and wider than its predecessor, the new Ram actually weighs about 225 pounds less. Saving weight is one thing, but Ram also claims that this is their strongest cab to date. It's actually about 4 inches longer, which translates to a tremendous amount of interior space, which I'll talk about more in just a moment. Continuing on, weight savings play a big role with any new vehicle's development. It can affect things like fuel economy, drivability, and in this case, capability. That being said, the new Ram is a lot more capable than its predecessor, with a max payload of 2,320 pounds and a max trailer towability of 12,700 pounds. Those are improvements of 430 pounds and 3,540 pounds respectively. Of course, all of that depends on how the truck is configured between all of the body and bed configurations, which there are a lot, and depending on whether you go for 2 or 4-wheel drive, so be sure to check out your local Ram dealer to figure out which combo works for you best. The third thing I'd like to talk about is how Ram improved the aerodynamics of the truck by 9% over the previous gen. This has several key benefits, especially with fuel economy and interior noise. If you don't get the optional air suspension, when the truck gets up to 35 miles an hour, there's a standard active front air dam that automatically extends down about 2.5 inches. In case the dam ever comes in contact with something, there's a clutch release system to help prevent damage. If you get the air suspension, when you get on the highway, the truck automatically lowers by 0.6 inches. On top of that, there's active grille shutters, a Venturi roof design, 1.5-inch higher bed rails, a new tailgate spoiler, the bed to cab is sub-flush to reduce turbulence. There's a whole bunch of other stuff too, but we don't have time to talk about it all in this video, but my point is they did a whole lot to really smooth this thing out and make it slip through the wind. The new Ram's going to be offered with 2 engines, either a 305 horsepower 3.6-liter V6 or a 395 horsepower 5.7-liter Hemi V8, both of which are paired to 8-speed automatic transmissions. The biggest news here is the e-torque system, which replaces a traditional alternator with a belt-driven motor generator, effectively creating a mild hybrid system. It'll be making its way through the lineup later this year. E-torque has several different responsibilities, but the most important is providing short bursts of torque at the low end. Peak torque for the V6 is 269 pound-feet, and for the V8 it's 410 pound-feet. E-torque does not affect those numbers because it's all developed at the low end. Basically what it's doing is broadening the torque curve, so in this case where it matters the most is with towing. If you're towing a heavy load and can get a little bit of extra grunt before the engine starts developing its peak torque, it'll help out a whole lot. E-torque's going to be offered on both engines, but if for some reason you don't want it, the Hemi will be offered without it at the buyer's discretion. But it's innovation like this that really makes me excited to be an auto enthusiast this day and age. Now for my favorite thing about the Ram, it continues to be the only truck in its segment to offer a 4-corner air suspension. Along with load leveling capability, there's 5 height settings that can raise or lower the truck beyond its 8.7-inch standard ground clearance to improve clearance for off-roading or to improve ingress and egress. There's actually 4 inches of lift span. The Ram is already one of the best riding and handling trucks that you can buy with its 5-link rear suspension, but by swapping out the progressive rate springs for air springs, it just adds icing to the cake. It's exceptionally comfortable and it's really impressive how it just soaks up the road imperfections. There's some other cool features packed with the air suspension as well, and I highly suggest you go and check those out, but it does offer the lowest step-in height. If you slam it all the way down, it's just 20.9 inches off the ground. And in the highest off-road setting, you get as much as 10.1 inches of ground clearance, which is just awesome. Since we're on the subject of suspension, let's go ahead and quickly talk about the new off-road package that Ram is going to offer for 2019. The changes aren't quite as aggressive as the Ram Rebel, but it gives the standard truck just a little bit more capability. For starters, you get a 1-inch suspension lift that's with or without the air suspension, as well as off-road calibrated shocks. Torque is transferred a little bit more accurately thanks to an electronic lock-in rear differential, and you have 32-inch tires with the choice of either 18 or 20-inch wheels. Hill descent control makes things a little bit easier when starting off on an incline, and you have an off-road biased rear suspension geometry setup that's actually shared with the new Ram Rebel. Underneath, skid plates are added to the transfer case, steering, engine, and gas tank to help keep everything protected, and you have tow recovery hooks. Before wrapping everything up, let's talk about the interior. Honestly, you can make an entire video on just the interior because it is absolutely incredible, especially when you start getting into the upper trim levels, Laramie, Laramie Longhorn, and the Laramie Limited. It is downright luxurious. One of the most luxurious truck interiors I've ever seen. The Laramie offers a great combination of features and build quality and comfort. Nothing too over the top, but you still get a whole lot of nice stuff packed in there. Plus, the new Ram offers nearly 100% more storage capacity versus the closest competitor, including a super sweet reconfigurable center console design, a 2-tier glove box, and more. One particular thing that I wanted to highlight for this video was the infotainment options. There's 3 different systems available depending on the trim level. On the lower end models, you have a 5-inch display. This one has the new 8.4-inch capacitive touch display, but at the top end is a 12-inch display. Tesla still has everybody beat as far as the sheer size of their screen, but it's pretty cool seeing this kind of technology migrate to a pickup truck of all things. I really hope I get a chance to spend some extra time with the larger display. It's packed with exclusive options and features, and is highly customizable. If that wasn't enough, there's a handful of different audio systems. The 2 that stand out though are the 10-speaker 506-watt Alpine system found in this example, and the optional 19-speaker 900-watt Harman Kardon surround sound system, which is absolutely phenomenal. It's also worth mentioning just how quiet the interior of the new Ram is. You have these things called electronically controlled side frame mounted active chassis tuned mass modules. Whew, that's a mouthful. Try to say that 5 times in a row. All you need to know is that they further improve NVH levels, and on V8 models, it works in harmony with an interior active noise cancellation system to lower ambient sounds down to 67.1 decibels, making this the quietest Ram 1500 ever. All of those aerodynamic improvements that I talked about earlier also help with this, along with standard acoustic glass. I'm sure that pretty much everybody would agree that trucks nowadays are less utilitarian and more multi-purpose vehicle, oftentimes being considered over an SUV just for the extra practicality of having the open bed without having to sacrifice on comfort and luxurious amenities. The Ram is a great example of this. The back seat is cavernous. Without comparing dimensions, just of what I can remember of past experiences, the back seat feels class-leading when it comes to leg space and head space. There's also a ton of amenities back there. The floor is completely flat, which is really nice because you can flip up the back seat and have a bunch of extra storage space back there, but you can also recline the seat now, which will be super nice for long trips. Last but certainly not least, a lot of you are probably wondering, well, how much does all of this cost? Because there's so many body and bed configurations, options, and trim levels, pricing is kind of all over the place, but I'll give you a broad overview. For more detailed information regarding pricing and specifications, check out the link in the description box below. Pricing ranges from $31,695 all the way up to $55,485. Now that's before options and destination. What you see here is a Laramie which starts at $40,690, but as equipped, a crew cab with the short bed and a bunch of different options, it's $52,620 all in. Now let's go ahead and close the video out with a few sound clips. everyone, I hope you enjoyed the top 10 on the all-new 2019 Ram 1500. Be sure to stay tuned next time, subscribe to Truck Central if you haven't already. Plus, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like below. There's always a lot more where that came from. Take care, everyone.